One of the mistakes I see a lot is people trying to pull their jacket down to make it sit nice and snug around chest and shoulders. But then if you move your arms up, you will bring the jacket up.
Oh yeah.
And actually this is also suited and tailored like a medieval doublet. Therefore, the armpit should sit nice and high.
We start with swords. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So there's several swords in your bag.
Grab a couple.
Yeah.
Just to make sure.
So time to need some swords.
So I'll fight with the CG concept.
Yeah.
But just in case I brought a backup Kratom and CG blade.
Yeah.
So that if something happens to bend a bit too much, I can still wield a blade that I'm comfortable with and already know that it's going to hold up and will flex enough to keep my opponent safe.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's right with Siggy. Yeah. It flex.
Yeah. All of these are nice and flexible. So
okay. Very cool. And your main sword is a Siggy concept. And
yeah. For this match especially, I've used this one the most in tournaments.
Yep.
It's the standard because I kept this one for teaching.
Yeah.
But I really like how the weight is distributed and how it moves. So to make sure that I can portray the technical prowess I would like, I chose the sword that currently works the best.
Yeah, very nice. Okay.
Yeah.
So talk about the sword. Then let's look at the gear that you wear.
All right. So, let's start at the bottom.
Let's start with it.
So just some basic hockey shin guards.
Yeah.
These are just off-the-shelf shin protectors, and luckily they're shaped very much like medieval greaves are.
Yeah.
So I think as sword fighting community we're very lucky that this product exists because it's directly accessible and easy to use. You don't need to adjust anything.
Yeah.
That's a great start and it's very simple.
Okay, very cool.
Then to complement those, I use these knee protectors. These are the Knee Pro Ultra Flex 3, which are made for cobbling. So it's actually to work in gardens and with stones. Right? So that's why it's nice and comfortable and hinging, just to protect you. But they seem to be very durable.
Yeah.
And they've grown quite popular over the last decade.
Okay. And there's also a inner layer here.
Yep. There's a nice little bit of padding, so your knee is protected, and when any impact is distributed by the hard shell, they can be set to the right measurements. So these will flex to your size. They're very lightweight. I've been using these for a decade now. I'm still happy.
This is still the same as 10 years old?
No, this is the second pair actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So the other one, I popped a nail, but they're actually still usable. I repaired them, but they're just a little bit more mobile now.
Okay.
And the elastic gets worn.
Yeah.
But that's about it. The actual material hasn't damaged.
Okay, super.
Hasn't been worn unusable.
Yeah.
So that's all good.
Yeah, super.
Okay. For leg protection, I'm just wearing a little bit of padding.
Yeah.
Underneath the pants and regular pants for the 350 Newton requirement.
Yeah.
Usually I tend to fight a lot in regular gear with protection underneath.
Yeah.
For a tournament like this and certain others, it's required to have the overlayer.
Okay. Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Then moving on. So my very trusted chest guard and throat guard.
Yeah.
So this is a very old All-Star throat guard. I think it's going to be the oldest part in my gear because I've used it for more than 12 years now.
Okay.
Because it is just strong enough, flexible enough plastic plates that truly covers the take up. I think it's really quite an important piece to have something hard to protect the neck. This is an L-size chest guard that I cut to shape.
Yeah.
Because the normal size is a bit too wide.
Okay.
As it's intended for one-armed use, so it doesn't matter if it obstructs movement of the other arm.
Yeah.
But for HEMA, we would like gear that actually suits a bit more like a medieval cuirass. So you need a slightly wider gap at the elbow or at the armpit, so that if you move your elbow, it doesn't get in the way.
Yeah.
And still sits nice and high and protects you.
Super.
Yep.
So you cut it out with what?
Just a box cutter.
Okay.
Yep. Very simple. Just grind it so it's no longer sharp.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay. Cool.
Yep. Over that, this is the current Arto jacket I'm using. It's produced by Black Armory. After the first version I had, my girlfriend managed to wiggle a blade in between. So after some discussion with Anthony, we decided to add an extra flap, which is now standard on the current model of the jacket. That's because the blade got pretty close to my neck, and we followed up on feedback and applied it everywhere.
Okay. Very cool.
Yeah, I'm really happy with this one because it sits nice and high. It provides a lot of mobility. So that when you wear the jacket, if it fits properly, you don't have to make it right up as you move around the head. That's one of the mistakes I see a lot is people trying to pull their jacket down to make it sit nice and snug around chest and shoulders. But then if you move your arms up, you will bring the jacket up. And actually this is also suited and tailored like a medieval doublet, therefore the armpit should sit nice and high. And if you happen to have a strap at the back, like this one does, then you can tighten that one to make sure that it sits snugly. Especially if you first make sure it sits here, so you can actually move to upper hanging, then tighten it to ensure that it stays snug on your hips. Then you have all the room you need to move without the jacket being pulled around you. So you don't have the weight and encumbrance of it, but still the mobility and protection.
Like for me, it looks like here it's a bit tighter, and
I want it to be very tight around the waist because this is gonna have to stay static and stable anyway. I don't want to move the core or fold my back anyway, but I do want a little bit of room and mobility in the upper part and be able to move around.
Super cool.
Then for the arm, I've coupled these together from a old jacket protector and a Black Armory protector, partially because my forearms are slightly longer than average, and because gear is built for the average length individual, it was always slightly short, especially with the Pro Gondas that I'm wearing. So I've made these to make sure that when the elbow guard protects the elbow up there, that something sits nice and snug over the bones. So this bone is protected, and this little plate now protects that spot where you always get hit. Just off the arm guard, just below the elbow, where if you get hit, you know that was the spot without any hard shell protection. Because if you make the arm guard longer, you will not be able to move your arm again unless it's very complex and laminated. So this was a simple trick that I tried out to see how it works. Well, it still functions very well. And it allows me to move around without being too cumbersome. So I like my gear to sit in the place where it should, so it allows all the movement that I need. So I think that the sword and my movement protects me. The gear is there to make sure we can take a risk sparring or fighting this tournament. Pro gauntlets are the last bit of protection on the arm then. Since the cuff is a bit shorter than, for instance, the sparring gloves, it allows you to use the arm protection that you find suitable. So that's why I made these, to make sure that it overlapped and fit well. So this still overlaps. So there's enough overlap because this fits around the wrist, and the elbow is nicely protected, back hand is protected, so this is all covered now. And again, allows for enough mobility. So I'd say that the current gear setup I use is a very clear balance between protection and mobility. Because if I wear a lot of protection, I may find myself shielded very much, but then it becomes more of an armored fencing situation. So I'd rather make sure that it keeps me safe from harm and injury. So if something stings but doesn't block me in the fight, it doesn't impede me from continuing the match, that's okay. So usually after a tournament I don't end up banged and bruised. But if something is, if it's a little bit of a visible mark after a strike, that's alright, as long as it doesn't really damage me. There might be a tournament next week or month or fortune to teach.
Okay.
Yeah. And moving on up. This is, I think, the 4th All-Star mask I'm using now, because every once in a while the mask protects you and it gets slightly damaged.
Yeah.
And then you have to replace it.
Yeah.
Because if the integrity of the mask gets damaged, you need to replace it, because otherwise it is definitely unsafe. And your face is not worth that risk. So make sure you have a proper mask that's in with that protection that sits well and doesn't fall off.
Yeah.
With the Arkham jacket, you can have the bit underneath to make sure that there's enough protection over there.
Okay. And the overlay is which brand? Is that also?
This is the same. I've used quite a few.
Okay.
Most of them are fine. All-Star just happens to fit the All-Star mask well. I was able to buy them together.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of preference with that. Making sure it fits well is, I think, the most important part. Having decent protection for the back of head for the environment that you fight in.
Yeah.
So if you fight in a high-intensity environment, then perhaps it's important to make sure it's nice and stiff.
Yeah.
Just to avoid any unnecessary risks.
Okay, cool.
But since Daniel is a very controlled fighter, I don't expect any unnecessary risks in this fight.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I guess you also wear some groin protection.
Absolutely. That's so normal that I actually forgot to mention it.
Yeah.
I usually wear a Shock Doctor cup.
Yeah. Shock Doctor. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. They're nice and comfortable.
Yeah.
So that's why I forgot.
Yeah.
Generally, I'm so used to wearing it that even when I would be teaching, if I forget, it feels incomplete. So I'll automatically make sure it's is in place and safe. Yeah.